Attention to all founders, hustlers, and hardworking entrepreneurs. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is out now, and it's a goldmine of valuable strategies, data-driven insights, and expert tips for elevating your business. Have you ever wondered how successful business owners are staying ahead of the crowd in today's super competitive market? Well, we talked to over 500 small business owners to uncover how they're doing it and did a ton of research so you don't have to. We know you're busy building your business, so we got you covered. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is something you don't want to miss. This right here is the future of entrepreneurship. So stop what you're doing right now and check the link in the show notes to get that report right now.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, October 16th. I'm Mark Dent here with Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Have you ever shopped at a Kmart? Even if you're almost 40 years old, I'm guessing that you might not even remember the Big K and its blue light specials or those Rosie O'Donnell commercials from pretty long ago. Guess what? Now Kmart is basically gone forever. The last store in the contiguous United States is set to close in a few days. And so as we get ready for this closure, it's worth reflecting. How did Kmart fail where other big box stores succeeded? And what's going to happen to big box stores in the digital future? We're going to dive into all of that shortly, but first, let's give you the hits and headlines in today's business and tech news. All right, starting off, Starbucks has been beleaguered for a little while and obviously has a new CEO. The new CEO wants Starbucks to cut back on perks like extra loyalty points, which it had been given away on Tuesdays. It had also been offering discounts of up to 50%. It believes that those discounts took away from its status as a premium brand and increased the workload on its employees. Rob, how do you feel about a perk-free Starbucks experience?
So I think this is really interesting because I think the perks are a huge part of the Starbucks experience and why people love it so much. I mean, I think I've seen like 50 think pieces on Starbucks digital loyalty program in their app and like how that's really been such a boon for them. The thing that I would say to them is if you want to be a premium brand, stop opening so many stores.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the loyalty and perks that are taking away from them being a premium brand. I think you cannot be a premium brand if you have like thousands and thousands of stores. There needs to be some kind of scarcity aspect there.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, cut back a little bit on the supply. To me, this just seems like a solution that doesn't really fix any of its problems. One you suggested is they want to be a premium brand, but the other might be, well, maybe they should lean into not being a premium brand would be like the other way to solve their problem. And this isn't doing that. This is sort of like going somewhere in the middle, which is where they've kind of been struggling along for these last few years. So
100%.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as Starbucks is cutting back, Warren Buffett is buying in. His Berkshire Hathaway company has upped its stake in SiriusXM. After picking up $87 million worth of shares, the Oracle of Omaha now holds a 1/3 stake in SiriusXM, which, by the way, is also vying for an increased share of the streaming business.
I love this move, and it really makes me want to buy SiriusXM stock. I mean, I would follow Buffett anywhere. His track record speaks for itself. But the thing that I really like about SiriusXM, like they talk about power laws when it comes to the creator economy and really with like any content typically, right? Like even if you look at box office performance, only a few movies are really going to crush it. And most of the other ones are probably going to land somewhere in the middle. I think Sirius has really kind of made that their calling card with the top talent they're signing. They obviously have Howard Stern. That guy's basically been kind of like the linchpin of their network forever. But they also just recently gave a huge deal to Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy, who I think she is kind of like the Howard Stern, more or less, for Gen Z women.
Oh, without a doubt.
And is, you know, just completely on the rise. I think that was an incredibly smart signing for them. And I think they're kind of doing the power law thing in a way that is really interesting and really smart and good business.
Yeah. And yeah, they really do have a good track record of just picking winners lately, for sure. Okay, so let's move on to Butterfinger. Ferraro-owned Butterfinger, which is 101 years old, is starting to introduce some changes. They are introducing their first new Butterfinger flavor. It's going to be called Butterfinger Salted Caramel and will be the first of several limited time flavors. Are you going to go out and try this one before Halloween, Rob?
100%.
Yeah.
I love Butterfinger, and I think Butterfinger is one of the GOATs all time for Halloween candy. Huge fan.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
I never eat them throughout the rest of the year because I literally can't get the candy out of my teeth after eating them. But 100% trying this. Butterfinger is top shelf.
For sure. So let's move on now to Walgreens. The chain announced that it's going to close 1,200 stores by 2027 to achieve a, quote, healthier store base. The pharmacy chain owns just under 9,000 United States locations, and around 1/4 of them aren't profitable. You think they need to do some closing then, Rob?
I would 100% agree with that. And just from anecdotal experience, I would think that the local Walgreens that's a couple minutes down the street from me is one of that 25%. This place is depressing. Like, you walk in there and there's barely anything in the aisles and on the racks. It feels like completely under merchandised. They have way too much square footage for what they actually have in the store. I used to kind of view Walgreens and CVS as total equals. And now it's like you walk into a Walgreens, and the last few times it's happened for me, it's felt like a ghost town. And you walk into CVS and that's just not the case. And I don't know how big a role the auto checkout plays, but CVS was way ahead on letting people do self-checkout.
I've still never been to a Walgreens with a self-checkout.
Is that the factor? Like, it's crazy if that's like the one thing that has really separated these two, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, for our last little snippet here, we've got a doozy of a court case. 2 Massachusetts parents are suing their son's school district after he received detention and a D for using AI on a history project. The parents say that the school did not expressly forbid the use of AI, and that by giving him detention and this D, they have jeopardized his chances of getting into Stanford, where I'm assuming they do expressly forbid the use of AI on history projects. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of cases like this coming up in the next few years.
It's really interesting. I was literally just reading a blog post by Cal Newport about this yesterday. He teaches at, I believe, Georgetown, and he was sitting in watching some of his students use ChatGPT and just kind of like see how they use it. And he was saying that they don't basically use it to replace their writing, but they do it in a way to kind of like alleviate the cognitive load of writing. And the way that he described it is like, it's not quite plagiarism, but it's not quite like completely scot-free. Like, it's somewhere in the middle. And he was talking about how it's just going to be really interesting to try to monitor that going forward.
Absolutely.
With smaller budgets, shorter timelines, and sky-high expectations, growth is feeling pretty painful right now. But HubSpot is here to help. They just announced more than 200 major product updates that'll make impossible business growth feel impossibly easy. Like Breeze, HubSpot's suite of new AI tools that help you say goodbye to busy work and hello to better work. There's Breeze Copilot, a sidekick to assist you with all your tasks and boost productivity, Breeze Agents to automate manual, time-consuming work and add expertise, and Breeze Intelligence to give you the richest, most comprehensive picture of your prospects you know, which are most likely to become loyal customers. They've also reimagined their marketing and content hubs with all new ways to create breakthrough content, updated features to generate better leads, and lots more to uplevel your marketing and your revenue forecast. Get ready for growth without the growing pains. Visit HubSpot.com/spotlight to see them all and demo for yourself.
All right, well, let's move on to the main story. So over at Kmart, it's closing time for real. The big box chain has been a mess for basically the last 20 plus years, with locations dwindling from around 2,500 in the mid-1990s to now just one full-size store in the continental United States. But that store, which is on Long Island in New York, is set to close on October 20th. So the only Kmarts that will be left will be a few on the Virgin Islands and in Guam, as well as one kind of like mini-sized store in Miami that nobody really counts. So Rob, do you have any memories of Kmart? Did you ever do any shopping there?
There was a Kmart in Manchester, New Hampshire, where I grew up, but we never went there. We were Walmart people. We'd go to Walmart. Never really found a reason to go to Kmart. But the last time I heard about it, my wife was going to a Kmart to return an Amazon purchase. I think at some point along the line, they tried to kind of become like an Amazon.
That was their way of adapting to new technologies, was becoming a drop-off point for Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, it's really fascinating, though, because it's hard to really even think back. Again, you know, the two of us are both in our upper 30s. And so Kmart was like a power when we were children.
Totally.
But like that era just doesn't even seem like it ever existed. But, Kmart was actually the first to really go fully national as the sort of discount retailer, even before Walmart. And then, it had to compete with Walmart. It had to compete with Target. Walmart did a better job of customer service. Kmart was always infamous for bad customer service. Plus Walmart, its prices just ended up being lower. In fact, there was like a whole book written about the failure of Kmart in the early 2000s. And the word that everybody came up with was hubris. They had this huge advantage and they kind of squandered it, and they didn't have smart leadership. And here you have it. Target and Walmart dominate.
You look at Walmart and Target, and it's like Walmart very clearly is the price conscious kind of budget option.
Mm-hmm.
I read Sam Walton's book a little while back, and I just would never want to compete with that guy. He was completely ruthless and he was willing to do whatever it took to give the best deal to the customer. But then you go Target, and like I feel like Target's always had this kind of like upscale department store vibe, and the place where you go to buy kind of like higher quality items, that sort of thing. Kmart just lands somewhere in the middle. And like, I never really understood like what's the Kmart brand promise.
Yeah.
If you look at like Family Dollar, like some of those stores have started to do really well lately. And I think they've shrunk. They have like a smaller format. They have like a real strategy going along with who they are. They choose very specific places to have stores. Like if you drive in the backwoods between New Hampshire and Maine, you're going to run into like $10 Generals because there are no grocery stores back there. So they have like a really smart real estate footprint.
Right.
I just never got any of that from Kmart. It always seemed like they were in the same neighborhood as Walmart and just getting destroyed.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kmart just seemed to have this sort of strategy of like, we were here first, you know us, so you'll always know us.
Right.
But that's just not how it works. Times change. People decide to go with like a cheaper alternative. The celebrities who Kmart partnered with, which included, people like Martha Stewart, they go on and they do their products for other people or create their own brands and sell D2C and do all this stuff. And just in no way did Kmart sort of adapt enough to any of these types of changes. And it also has me wondering, like, yeah, Target and Walmart, as you said, they dominate. They're doing pretty well, to put it mildly. They still have a pretty robust business within stores. I mean, their e-commerce will never touch Amazon, most likely, but it's not bad. What do you think about the future of big box stores like them?
I mean, I think it's totally a power lot thing, man. I'm not like totally worried about Target. I still think they have this amazing brand appeal, especially with women of a certain age. Like my wife is obsessed with Target, like goes to Target at least like once every couple weeks and always leaves wondering how she spent as much as she did there. And I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. But I honestly just think like, now it's Amazon and Walmart. You have kind of like the physical everything store, the digital everything store. And in that world, where does Target fit? Like, I think the playing field gets smaller and smaller with power laws. And maybe that's just the theme today, Mark, is there are power laws everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'll point out is that when I was a teen, like it was just extremely popular to just like go to Target or go to Walmart and roll through the aisles, look at stuff. You probably wouldn't even buy stuff, but that was just where you hung out in the suburbs. And I just wonder when you hear of like, people of a certain age who still really like Target, like some of that is nostalgia. And if younger people are, less likely to shop in person or their hangouts are moving elsewhere. Actually, Starbucks, I just saw a headline, is a pretty big hangout for teens. So they do have that going for them. But I wonder if that might have some sort of negative impact going forward. But at least for now, it is not for Target because that very Kmart location on Long Island that's going to be closing on October 20th, it is being taken over by Target. So there you go.
Oh my goodness.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter, so if you're not subscribed, please go get signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram and everywhere else you can possibly follow us. We will catch you tomorrow.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. It's called Hustle and Flowchart, hosted by Joe Fear, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. The Hustle and Flowchart podcast with Joe Fear is all about how to build a business so it gives you the freedom and fuel for your life. You can join Joe as he discusses systems, mindset tweaks, reframes, and strategies for entrepreneurs, and really anyone, to be honest, to enjoy the process of being in business and also having fun. This isn't just for the entrepreneur looking to make $1 billion business, but it's also for somebody who's looking to build systems that work for you so you can make more money than you need just by working part-time, essentially. I was actually just listening to an episode he had on Kareen Walsh behind the app Hey Kareen, and Kareen talked a lot about how to scale your business effectively, especially if you're just a startup, especially if you are just an app startup specifically. It's an awesome episode. I would recommend it to anyone. You could check them out and you can listen to the Hustle and Flow Chart wherever you get your podcasts.